Mortal Kombat 1 had many flaws. Even though I like the game, many critiques are valid, hence why we got so many videos about it. Even I made a video recently that did really well, which once again displays how well Mortal Kombat failed. However, I've never seen anyone discuss the lies of Mortal Kombat 1, either on purpose or by accident. This game has tons of skeletons, and not the cool kind like what Quan Chi summons. I'm talking about misleading marketing or straight up false information, and of course greedy microtransactions along the way. The list goes on for a while, which is why I'm making a full video about it. Keep in mind, I do like this game, but with what's happening all around Warner Brothers right now, this game is cooked. Yeah, I don't think any more updates are coming. Hopefully the next Mortal Kombat game is great. Leave a like down below if you want that, because I certainly do. Even though the next game is most likely Injustice 3, I still want the next MK game to be better, and hopefully you do as well. For anyone watching who might be new to this channel, I'm trying to reach 500,000 subscribers before 2026, so let's do it together. If you find today's video interesting, please smash that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss any future content. Alright everyone, without any further ado, let's begin. Let's start off at the beginning, Mortal Kombat 1's very first trailer, which shows iconic characters paired together, which obviously tells the player this game will be a tag fighter, as in two fighters against two other fighters. Because why else do we see everyone paired together? Obviously the final game is nothing like that. There's one main character and then the cameo character, who just does assists. This trailer shows no cameo characters. This initial trailer for Mortal Kombat 1 is either deceptive on purpose or just ignorantly designed, because once again, we never see any cameo characters like Sonya or Jax. Instead, we see the main fighters paired together, Kitana and Mileena, Kung Lao with Raiden, and of course Sub-Zero with Scorpion. Yeah, everything about this trailer implies a tag fighting game, so it's no wonder fans got upset at the cameo system. They thought this game was gonna be 2v2. Everything about this first trailer implies that's the case. Also, for research, I rewatched the other early trailers for Mortal Kombat 1, including the gameplay trailers, and guess what? They never mention the cameo system. We see two fighters side by side followed by gameplay. So once again, it looks like a 2v2 fighting game, at least to casual viewers. So even if NetherRealm never meant to trick anybody, they at least did a terrible job explaining how Mortal Kombat 1 would actually play. In fact, even over 1 year later, we get trailers showing one character by themselves during the win animation, instead of a cameo being next to them, which led tons of players to think a 1v1 mode was coming, myself included. Now some watching might call that a nitpick, which is fair, but my point is, the combined marketing of Mortal Kombat 1 is confusing at best and deceptive at worst. Mortal Kombat deception, eh? Anyone? No? Okay, moving on. Today's video is sponsored by WowCube. With 24 interactive screens, it's like nothing you've seen before. This right here is the future of entertainment. It feels like a Rubik's Cube from the year 3000, sent back to the past to entertain us all. You spin it, you twist it, you shake it, you rotate it, all to have some good fun with these interactive games. And there's a lot of them, from interactive challenges to brain teasers and everything in between. But best of all, it's an open platform for developers, which means new games and apps are likely on the way. In other words, entire games made specifically for the WowCube as an interface. It's so cool. The possibilities are endless. The WowCube is so much fun and honestly very hard to put down. So what are you waiting for? Use my link down below in the pinned comment or video description to get your WowCube today for a limited time price. That's right, there's no better time than now to order your WowCube. Just use my link down below. It's so much fun and feels like the future of entertainment. It's an awesome and interactive new way to have fun and very hard to put down. Honestly, I can't recommend the WowCube enough. Alright, and back to the video. Next, let's talk about the Season Pass. This includes all the DLC characters and the cameo fighters too. Or in other words, you have the main characters that are fully playable and the assist characters. Every other fighting game does this, it's nothing new. However, for some reason, several big websites online listed Johnny Cage as a cameo, and many fans assumed this would be classic Johnny from the Midway era, or possibly even Mortal Kombat 9 Johnny. Pretty much any version besides MK1 Johnny, because that's a fully playable character. Since there are several characters in-game that are fully playable and a cameo character too, like Kung Lao for example. And many fans thought that was happening for Johnny Cage, but instead it was Janet Cage, which is a brand new character never seen before. Yeah, this whole situation is extra sus because you could pre-order the combat pack before this information was corrected. As a result, I see many comments thinking that NetherRealm did this on purpose to get more sales, likely because they knew fans would hate the idea of Janet Cage and therefore changed her to Johnny Cage, which while that is a possibility, possibility, I think it's way more likely the whole thing was just a dumb mistake. Now don't get it twisted, that's still unforgivable considering this company has millions of dollars in funding. So a mistake like this never should have happened, but yeah, I sure hope it wasn't an intentional trick because that's straight up fraud. Which is why, for the record, in my honest opinion, I think the whole thing was one big goof and not done on purpose, but let me know your thoughts in the comments. Alright, next up we gotta talk about the fatality bundles. Because this whole situation, right, this absolute guffaw caused such an outrage online. It was legendary, borderline biblical. The players were so angry. Just in case anybody watching is brand new to Mortal Kombat 1 and has no clue about any of this, let me briefly explain. For the first time ever, Mortal Kombat 1 had seasonal fatalities. So a Thanksgiving fatality, a Christmas fatality, you get the idea. Which is a neat concept, but you gotta pay for it, very similar to Mortal Kombat X and Mortal Kombat 11. Fatalities had been paid DLC before, that's nothing new. However, the price was certainly new, and originally it was worded like these would be separate purchases, as in one fatality would cost this much. Yeah, that's obviously way too expensive for a finishing animation, which led to fans getting rightfully upset and angry at the absurd price. The whole situation was one big disaster. So soon afterward, NetherRealm was quick to change the wording online, and now this price included all 3 fatalities bundled together, which was definitely a smart change, but the fact it was worded as one fatality initially seems to imply that NetherRealm thought we'd pay this much for a fatality. Like, good lord, once again, it could be a mistake, that's a possibility, but this time, I personally think it was on purpose. If it was actually a mistake, then whatever, but I sometimes do think companies push the envelope and see how far they can get with these prices. And afterwards, if fans freak out enough, they lower the price or change the conditions of the purchase, right? I've seen it happen so many times by now. So as a result, I would not be shocked if this price was originally meant for one seasonal fatality, and if fans hadn't got upset, it would have stayed that way and just kept the trend going. Very similar to how the costumes in Mortal Kombat 1 were $10. That's right, $10 for a single costume. It was maddening. Thankfully, a couple months later, it got reduced to $5, right? But still, that's a lot for one costume, not gonna lie. To me, it should be $3 at the most. However, other fighting games are also charging $4 or $5 per costume now. Anyways, next up it's time for an honorable mention. A lie, but not a direct lie. Because Mortal Kombat 1 has a full functioning tag team mode. That's right, it's in the files, you just can't access it as a normal player. I've mentioned this topic many times in past videos, but for anyone new, I'll keep it simple and quick. If you download certain mods for PC only, you can access the tag team mode and play 2 characters fully at once, swapping them in and out of combos freely as you see fit to do some really cool stuff. Also, both characters get their own health bar, so it really is a full tag team mode that's already coded and almost done in the game. Yet for some reason, players aren't allowed to access it unless you break the game with a mod, and unfortunately that's only possible on PC. To this day, I've got no idea why NetherRealm doesn't just add this as a free mode, because in my opinion that would be a great way to end the game, right? End Mortal Kombat 1 by releasing this tag team feature as a separate mode, not for ranked gameplay or even casual, right? It's a completely separate mode with this tag team that isn't fully done yet. It's kind of wonky, but it's mostly there, and I think players would love it. To anybody at NetherRealm that might be watching, trust me, players would love this, and it would be a fantastic way to end Mortal Kombat 1. Everybody would leave this game with a positive feeling. Despite all the nonsense that came before, if you finally gave players a tag team mode and possibly a 1v1 mode, oh, it would do so much for the community. Players would love you. Okay, now finally, the last topic, we have the definitive edition of Mortal Kombat 1. Yeah, the title is literally false. When a regular buyer sees this title, the definitive edition of Mortal Kombat 1, they assume it includes everything, because that's what the word definitive implies, the final version of something, right? And for previous entries like Mortal Kombat X, that was the case. However, Mortal Kombat 1 does not do this. This version of the game does not include everything. You still have to unlock or possibly buy a ton of costumes. It does give you all the DLC characters and the Chaos Reign story, to be fair, but everything else you've got to grind for, or to be more realistic, you've got to buy these things. Because to be honest with you, there's no way you can grind enough to get all these costumes for free. You're gonna have to buy them. It's sad to say, but Mortal Kombat 1, along with most modern games, is designed that way. In the present day, you never get everything in a game for free. There is always gonna be some extra purchases here and there before you get all the items in the game, right? And Mortal Kombat 1 is no different. There's no way to unlock everything without spending some money. Although, to be fair, Mortal Kombat 11 did this too, and barely anybody complained. I did though. I complained, just for the record. But Mortal Kombat 11 did so absurdly well that most people did not complain that the Ultimate version did not include all the costumes. Which is unfortunate because, like mentioned earlier, Mortal Kombat X actually did. The full version of that game was called Mortal Kombat XL, and it gave you all the characters, and costumes too were included, because that's how it should be done. The crypt stuff still had to be unlocked, but honestly that's not too much work. The crypt in Mortal Kombat X was pretty easy to get all the stuff you wanted pretty quickly. And honestly, there should be an incentive to play the game and grind a little bit to unlock stuff, otherwise what are you playing for? Now it's worth mentioning the game didn't offer all the costumes, like the collector's edition stuff that came with the most expensive version of Mortal Kombat X. However, I think that's understandable because people bought the collector's edition to get the collector's items. It shouldn't be available to everyone else. Like, by definition, it shouldn't work that way, in my opinion. And even the mobile costumes were given for free as an update to everybody, I think, which was awesome. Mortal Kombat 11 did not do that, and sadly, Mortal Kombat 1 kept that trend going. You don't get everything in the definitive edition, so to me, that's a lie that's gotta be added to the list. And alright everyone, that's about it for today's video, the many lies of Mortal Kombat 1, but let me know in the comments if I missed anything. For today's video, I mainly wanted to cover the big stuff, obviously, but if I missed any tiny stuff, let me know. Then before you go, make sure to leave a like if you enjoyed today's video. Every like helps my channel out a ton. In fact, YouTube doesn't count your view unless you like or comment. So if you want to make me happy, then please do both. And for anyone new, subscribe and ring that bell so you never miss any future content. Alright everyone, make sure to come back next time, and as always, stay underdogs.